And our friends at the Odd Number as well put their blood, sweat, and tears into This Is Tough, So Are You as well.
Yeah. So the rationale behind it?
We always get an agency to design the Loeries campaign.
Are you the type that you create and you're able to sell?
Let go.
Here's what you got to know. For everyone who starts a business right now, have an exit strategy. You got to have an exit strategy because what happens, if you start a business as an entrepreneur, right? The money...
That is so powerful.
At film school, at advertising school, at a marketing school, we all want to win a Loerie.
If you really want to win at Loerie, enter. Put it in. You know, there's this old joke that goes that, this guy prayed to God for so long. Have you heard this joke about the guy praying to God to win the lottery?
No.
Pat. It's Pat on Brands. Watch how you branded, man. A pat on the back is a pat from the man. Better be branded, man. A pat from the pat is a pat on the brand.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Pat on Brands podcast with Pat and
Mpumi. Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to another thrilling, exciting episode of the Pat on Brands podcast with myself, Mpumi and Pat Mashangu.
Yeah, man. Actually, I think we need to take a moment.
Okay.
Just a few seconds and for our moment of silence for a fallen tree. Dr. Sam Matsuenyane, who's the founding chairman of African Bank. As we record this episode today, we've just learned that about the passing of Dr. Sam Matsuenyane. And maybe if we could take that moment just to bow down a bit. If you don't mind, please, Preetesh. Okay, cool. Let's get back to it, man.
We were listening to the gig guide earlier. My goodness.
The man is a globetrotter.
His home is at the airport basically at this rate.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know that a CEO of the Loerie would be this busy.
Yeah.
Of the Loeries could be this busy. How are you, Preetesh? And welcome to the Pat on Brands podcast.
Yeah, welcome once again.
Thank you to both of you. Great being here.
Thank you so much for for you coming, and being on today's podcast. So we have exciting conversations, I suppose, and who in advertising or marketing doesn't want to win a Loerie? As soon as you go and you're like, oh my gosh, I want to win a Loerie, we're going to win a Loerie.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like that.
And I said to Preetesh, as soon as he walked into our office, I said, by you being here,
therefore,
we deserve a Loerie.
Gotta put it out in the universe.
Absolutely.
That's what we've done today.
Absolutely.
There we go.
Yeah.
Man. But tell us more about yourself. Where do you come from? We had a bit of a snip and we said, no, hang on. We'll discuss it here. We know the end part of the CEO of the Loeries, but who is Preetesh back in the day? Who's had? It sounded like you've got dinosaur years within the space of marketing.
Actually, yeah. And I do, but it's weirdly enough is I accidentally fell into marketing. It wasn't a conscious decision at any point.
Like many,
I think 90% of our guests.
Yeah. It's because this is not a career that I think was open to many of us. It's not a career where you look at and you go like your parents would like you need to get into marketing.
When you're watching an ad, you're not like, that's marketing. It's almost like that, oh, that's interesting. How, whatever ad is there, it's like, oh, that's funny. Oh, they're clever. But you don't really relate who's doing what where.
And connected to a business objective. And
exactly. As I sit here and I look at this beautiful trophy, I just realize I don't think about who's making it. I just know, let's appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah.
But there was somebody who's out there who had a mold.
Absolutely.
And there's getting the colors
Absolutely.
right. And, but it's the same thing with ads, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. We don't think about it. So in my case, I never thought about it. And I went to university to study a business degree. And my plan was I loved computers. So I didn't touch a computer until I was in grade 10, which is standard 8 back in the day. First time in my life, touching a keyboard. Fell in love with this thing. So when I finished school, I went, okay, I want to go study computers. And then I started off studying a BCom with majors in business information systems and information systems technology.
Yeah.
Sorry to everyone who studied that, but it's as boring as it sounds at that point. So I was there programming, doing all of stuff. And
I also dabbled into informatics programming.
Yeah.
I hated it.
I hated when people told me what I needed to do. If they just allowed me to be creative and go just create whatever you want, I would have been very happy. But instead you had these projects. So I realized it wasn't feeding my soul. So what I did was I studied at UKZN, which back in the day was University of Natal, Durban. So I studied over there, and I was trying to feed my soul, and the way I did that was joining the university newspaper.
Okay.
Oh.
But again, I was not interested in writing. No, didn't want to write. I was interested in the money side. So the one job that no one wants to do in a university newspaper was the finance and advertising manager.
Wow.
And I was like, I want to be involved in all of the advertising and that kind of stuff. So I was doing this, and then one day I get a call. And it's from this company, and I'd never heard of them in my life before, called Procter Gamble. And they go like, hey, we got your details from the university. We'd love for you to apply. We're coming to a campus on a certain date. And I was like, yeah, great. That's great. So, and then I looked at the date, and I was a semi-professional photographer for Sly Media back in the day, who published SL and Y Mag. And I had a gig I had to do a photography shoot. It was the launch of the new Beetle that they were doing on campus. And I was like, oh, okay. So I rushed and I did that. And eventually I was like, yeah, let me try and get to this.
Yeah.
Missed the entire presentation, but I was able to get an application form.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, cool. I've got the application form. Let's see what happens. And again, time went by and the deadline came, and then I realized I was chatting to a friend of mine. I don't know where she is. So this amazing girl, she was like, by the way, I'm putting my application in. Have you done it? It's closing in 15 minutes. And because of her, she was like, it's closing 15 minutes. I was like, I have no idea what this is. I've got the application form. The worst, I have terrible handwriting, just so you both know. Terrible. Bad handwriting, scribbled the worst thing. Then went, okay, I've done this.
Yeah.
I put it in. And by some weird thing, even though I put it in with my horrible handwriting, I got contacted and said, hey, you know what? You've been selected to go to the next round of interviews.
Sure.
And I said, wow. So I went to the next round of interviews. There was a lot of us. So it wasn't, I don't feel that excited about it now because there were so many of us. They really went for a wide group of people.
Yeah.
And how many
look,
graduates
you
were you
applied.
looking for?
They were looking for 2 people, I think it was.
Oh my goodness. Then
Two.
it's a lot of you guys there.
Yeah, so there's a lot of us. And then what happened is we went for this, and then I sat in front of this really interesting lady, and she looked at what I'd written, and I didn't know what to choose. So I chose sales. Because I was like, yeah, I'm in finance and advertising at the university.
That
It's
links.
pretty nice.
Yeah.
So I took sales, and she looked at it, and she had this interview with me, and she was like, at the end, she was like, no, you should be in marketing. No idea what marketing means. She's like, you should be in marketing. And she physically scratched out sales and selected the marketing box and pushed the application forward.
Yeah.
And I got called again, and then now the story gets short. I got called again, had to do the interviews, and they do these intense interviews. You sit for an hour, and there's no break, and you go to a next meeting for an hour, and they ask you the same questions for an entire hour. It's the same things again, same things again. And then the third round is exactly the same thing, all happening at one go. And then they said, hey, we'll select you. And they took 2 of us as interns up to Johannesburg, up to here to Johannesburg from Durban.
Yeah.
And at the end of that, I spent 2 months on an internship. And remember, the marketing director is from the UK, has really strong British accent, sat me down at the end of 2 months, and he put this piece of paper and said, we'd like to offer you a job. Go finish your degree and come back, and you have a guaranteed job. I was second year of university, and I went, wow. I have a guaranteed job. This is amazing.
Yeah.
And then I realized I had a problem. I really hated what I was studying.
Yeah.
I hated it. So I was like, am I going to go spend this next year doing something I really hate?
Yeah.
So I had a chat with him, and I said, look, I'm doing this, and obviously you've got the marks, you know what it is, but I really hate what I'm doing. I don't want to go down this path. I'd like to swap degrees. And they said, we don't care. You can go study whatever you want. As long as you come back to us with a degree, this job is guaranteed because they've done all of their work.
Yeah.
So, and that's what happened. I swapped to archaeology, so classical archaeology. Wow. And I did my first and second year of classical archaeology in 1 year. And then, finished that degree, came up to Johannesburg, and just up the road, I was just saying, just up the road from here, this is why this is so special from where we're recording right now.
Yeah.
I started my career in marketing.
Sure.
On diapers, which is exactly what a 21-year-old wants to
What's
work
to
on.
think of?
So like, I'm 21 years old. I'm at this company with all of these really sexy, exciting
Brands.
And they put
And
you
they
on.
were like, there
Here you go.
are.
You're on diapers. And it was like, I was on Pampers, and we worked in the paper team.
Yeah.
So I worked at Pampers, And then my counterparts were on Always and
Yes.
Tampax. So it's like
Yeah,
diapers and because
yeah.
it's a paper category.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wish I was on. I have no hair now, but back then I was like, I had hair, and I did my internship in hair care, and I was like, why didn't they put me on hair care? That was such a
But here
fascinating.
you are.
And that's how I got into marketing. That's the
Sure.
long story. You asked for the story. I gave
No,
you the
absolutely,
long story.
which is quite interesting. I mean, we always say that, when we have guests, and it's also about relatability. I mean, we've had people who are like, oh my gosh, your guest, we didn't think they were, we have similar stories, or we've been in the same journey, or I feel bad about myself for wanting to change. But it's about that, is that we're showing relatability, and now these people who are success stories like yourselves, who are like, I didn't like what I did,
I mean,
yeah.
With the position that you're in now, I mean, being the CEO of Loeries, how much of the lessons that you are grateful for that you got when you were in your early days at uni,
Oh yeah.
that you
That's
still
come out
apply
now,
today?
yeah.
I mean, enough of it. So I think there's two streams to that I want to focus on. One is in terms of having the guts at that point to make a really, really tough decision, because I didn't know what the outcome was. And I
Sure.
think if you don't have those discussions, you never know it's going to go. So
Yeah.
follow your passion, understand that if you have challenges, you need to talk about it. You can't just sit back and just go, okay, maybe I'll do something different and I'll just like push through. You're young, make mistakes while young. And that's what I think. Make as many mistakes as you want. Second thing is, in terms of archaeology, I've used more of my archaeology thinking in terms of innovation, in terms of the work that I'm doing, than I did some of the business stuff I've done. And this is this simple. We create, and through the education system, different way, homogenous human beings. You put people through exactly the same schooling, the same
the
kind of
same,
stuff,
yeah.
and then you put them in and you go, be innovative. How are you
be
going to
different.
be different? Go be different.
Go be unique.
How? Because you've all taught the same things. You all have got the same marks and the same
Sure.
kind of stuff. And you're putting all of these
Sure.
people who think alike in the same environment, you go think differently.
Yeah.
You need agitators. You need people with different thinking. So having this archaeology degree, you learn how societies, start, rise, fall. Brands are the same.
Wow.
Brands are like community. They're made up of communities, right? So brands have rise and they have their declines. It's the brand life cycle. And unless you do something, you're going to have that natural decline that's
Sure.
going to come through. And archaeology taught me that long before any marketing text taught me that. It taught me in a practical way by saying, look at
It's a
Egyptian
life cycle.
culture.
Yeah.
Look at Egyptian culture. Look
Yeah.
at Roman culture. They all
Yeah.
like rose, and then they try to hit it, and then they just go down into
Absolutely.
a ring. Brands do the same thing. So if your brands out there, you can learn a lot more from looking at how, because again, systems, they're all, society is a system made up of people. A brand is a system that actually serves people, and they
Sure.
work in the same way.
That is
That's it. Actually, that's a very unique way of looking at it.
yeah.
I've never
Quite
thought of it
profound.
that way. Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
profound.
So
but
the-
now we move, you go through your journey as marketing, and you are now the CEO, and I'm sure there's in between there,
Crazy one.
twists and turns. And how long have you been within the industry of?
But at some point, you started your own thing. Eh?
I did, because I was at P&G for a while, and then I was like, I wanted a different adventure, as everyone does.
Absolutely.
And I swapped to Reckitt Benckiser. Totally different environment.
Yes.
P&G is like this is how I describe it. It's like a big ship. It's a cruise ship it's got all this bulk of these great brands and willing to move slowly. Then I went to Reckitt Benckiser, which is like a speedboat. It's small, it's nimble. It's a huge organization, but it still acts like a startup. And it was there that I discovered this concept called Product of the Year.
Okay.
Which existed. It was started in France in 1985 and didn't have a presence on the African continent. And I was like, wow, I want to bring this. So, so that's what I did. I started that business in South Africa, and then that would helped brands basically understand whether their NPDs, their new product development, whether actually it made an impact on consumers.
That's so exciting.
And then also help them understand how to build their innovation pipeline. So today, one of the things I can do with my eyes closed is if you want to do point of market entry, point of market change marketing, or like you want to build your NPD pipelines and you want to know how to build robust NPD pipelines, even though I don't use it in the same way, I still kind of use it in the Loeries and places. But again, that's stuff that I can do in my sleep, because that's what we did. And it caught the attention of publicists, and I eventually ended up selling that business to Publicis, who are the world's largest advertising group. So
Wow.
that's what happened.
So you're rich.
I
Threw him off there for 2 seconds.
I wish I could have retired. No, not
enough.
yet. No, not enough to retire. Let's put it like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But at the time, I'm pretty sure it was enough. Now, in retrospect, you're like, I could have sold it for more.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it now.
And
I
it's
did
still-
leave money on the table.
They still...
It is. I think it's as a business, it had its own challenges during the time, but it's still like researching
Evolved
over the
in a way.
COVID, and it's evolved and it's pushing forward
Sure.
post the COVID environment.
That is so interesting.
So yeah, it's great to see the team who are on it right now still trying to push it forward and doing lots of amazing stuff with it.
I mean, side like offline, not necessarily how does it feel to kind of, or are you the type that you create and you're able to sell?
Let go.
Because I think I just have that.
You have attachment issues.
Yeah,
know?
it's the biggest challenge that you have with most founders. And I've chatted to founders who have had multi-million-dollar businesses and, close to billion-dollar deals in terms of like their businesses being at that kind of level. And at every level, I've seen like people who are struggling to sell the businesses. Here's what you got to know. For everyone who starts a business right now, have an exit strategy. You got to have an exit strategy because what happens, if you start a business as an entrepreneur, right? The money,
That is so powerful.
the money you make on a day-to-day basis. So let's say that money you get every single month is basically the money you get for the effort, but it's not the money you get in terms of the value you're creating in the company. That value is locked into the business itself. The only way to realize it, and I mean, there's two key parts.
To unlock it, yeah.
Yeah, if you either sell it or if you get so big you list it on a stock exchange or something. But that's your exit plan, is basically letting go. If you don't let go, all of that effort will be in vain, because don't look. Some people get like fooled by that month to month, that yearly going like, I'm making all of this. No, that's not your value. Your value is really sitting in it. And it's in that process of letting go and selling the business at the right time is when you're really able to yield value from it. So don't be too close to your businesses. Also, don't name your businesses after yourself. Just by the way. Something's going to go like, oh wait, by the way, we're now buying your business. But sorry, you cannot use your name in business. I mean, for a certain number of years.
But you still have Dell, founded by Michael Dell.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing is like a lot of these individuals, they retain their business until retirement ages and stuff. And what did they do? They listed on a stock exchange. So they're able to yield the value that they need. But if you're going to, as you're sitting right now, lots of businesses you start, if you attach your name to it, it's going to be very difficult for you to generate the revenue to be listed on a stock exchange. Your most likely exit plan is going to be somebody's going to come and go,
and buy
doing great work,
it.
we want to buy you. So, Dory, Pattern Brands is still great. Don't worry. It's so great because it's only your first name. If you put your full name out, it'd be like, now you're in trouble.
That's what I'm thinking about.
I can hear that he's speaking from a concerned point.
So just do it. And then, but that's how you unlock value. You've got to sell eventually. Don't be so attached that you're not willing to sell.
That's a drops mic for me. That really is a drops mic. And now that we sell this and then you move to then the Loeries then, or there's still a lot happening before then?
Well, so I'm come from like my mind is entrepreneurship. So therefore what I did was I went and I started businesses. So I got involved in some eventing businesses. I got involved in, I was really keen in retail as a hobby.
Yeah.
So I started a high-end retail business, having things designed out of the country, importing it in and doing this. So I was doing all of that kind of stuff. And then I was about to board a flight. I was going to Greece and Turkey, and I get this call from somebody and goes that, by the way, the Loerie CEO is leaving. We'd love to have a chat to you about, like taking over Loeries, and would you be able to come through and meet with us? Sure. And I was like, I'm leaving now. I'm not going to be able to come anytime soon, but I'll be back in like 2 weeks. Let's meet. And they said, fine, we'll send you a meeting request, 2 weeks. So same thing, 2 weeks later, I go to the Loeries offices and the entire board is there. And they asked me, like, when you're coming, just give us some thoughts in terms of how you take the Loeries forward. And I'd just been to the partner and the Acropolis, seen this. And again, my archaeology stuff, I started off with a picture of the Acropolis and the partner on it. And we had this entire chat about the Loeries and what I think and where we can take it. and that's it. And I thought was a chat. And I thought maybe they might say, hey, let's start an interview process. Let's write some tests. Let's do, the usual stuff.
Yeah.
So I leave that, come home, and I'm in my backyard. And then the call comes from the recruitment person who's doing all this. And he just goes, hey, Preetesh, you must have said something they really liked because they want to make you an offer.
Sure.
And then I was like, then I asked him, wait, but don't you, isn't it like a second round? I've met everyone for the first time. Don't they want to meet? And it's like, no, they want to make an offer. So let's chat. And that's what happened. So, and then they made an offer, and then it became a thing of like, what am I going to do now? I've just started all of this. I don't have the bandwidth for everything. Yeah. And then, and this is the first time I'm ever sharing this. First time I've told the story for the first time ever sharing. Like I was really close to my mom who passed away, and this was so close to her death day, which was the 10th of December.
Oh, hectic.
And then we had all those chats, and then I had this contract in my hand, and it was like, and then it was 10th of December, and I was like, yeah, let's do this. So on her the day that was her death anniversary, I was like, there's something here.
Yeah.
Let's go down this journey. So I signed the contract on the day, and I made a decision to like sell or close on the other businesses and go on to this journey with the Loeries. I mean, it's the Loeries. It's got such a great reputation, and it was a privilege. And I realized this is an honor. It's an honor, like one of those things you get a chance to serve the industry and do something amazing. How much time do we have? I'm going to go back a little bit. When I was at Procter Gamble, I worked on this ad campaign that was fantastic. We went up to our global CEO, A.G. Lafley, and we got like such great reviews on this campaign. And I realized that I wanted to be more involved in advertising stuff. So I was like, how do I get more in advertising? And I'm thankful this didn't happen at that point because it allowed me to hone my marketing skills. But I went to my account director at the agency, and I spoke to her, and I was like, hey, I really want to find out how I can get to an agency. How can we do this? And she was like, no, we don't hire people from marketing. Says we'll never, ever take people from marketing.
Vice versa.
Yeah, vice versa. Well, now it's changing, but
of course. But back in the day, I mean, it was quite strict. I mean, it was almost like a stream. If you're an agency, it's agency. If it was marketing, corporate, you're in marketing.
Yeah. And that's what happened. She told me never, ever. Like she says, no. And then I always from the sidelines saw the Loeries. I had opportunities to attend, and I never got a chance to because the timings never worked out. And I was always busy with the other business I was running. And the previous CEO, Andrew Human, would be like, Preetesh, you need to come to Loeries this year. And I'd be like, Andrew, I'm going to come. But, I'm really busy with this. And I'd never have the time to go to Loeries. So the first Loeries I ever attended was a virtual Loeries that I organized.
Sure.
So it was the first time during COVID in 2020. And I always think about that account director. I don't know where she is. And I remember her face. I can't remember her name.
I hope she sees this so that she can see that you are right in the thick of it.
we're right in the thick of it right now as well. So therefore, like I don't take this for granted. Like I know when I think about young Preetesh 21 years ago, having this discussion literally up the road from where we're recording, which is amazing, and being told no, we'll never do this, and finally getting the chance to be in this industry.
And I mean, it doesn't get bigger than the Loeries in terms of. From an industry perspective, in terms of serving the industry.
It doesn't. And you know why? Because people don't know.
Unless you're going to be the CEO of the cans.
I mean, no. I mean, that's, Can is, like Simon Cook, who's CEO of Can, and I chat quite often. Like people don't know.
Okay.
Simon and I were together a month ago.
Wow.
We were together. We caught up in person.
As well.
I mean, these are people like it's a very small world. I mean, the world we're in is a very small one because again, the difference is that we are what you call a walk ranked award. So there's the walk rankings that makes a huge difference globally. And there's only 13 awards around the world, around the entire world, only 13 awards that feed into the Walk Creative 100. The Loeries is the only award that covers the whole of Africa and the Middle East that feeds into the Walk Creative 100. And then we're in that pot with the likes of Can Lines, The One Show, DNADs, and all of these kind of guys as well. So therefore it's like, it's a very exclusive group of awards to win. So we're not an award for an award.
There.
So now, I mean, we've spoken about the Loeries, and I think anybody who's in creative, their first thing is like they want to win a Loerie, you know.
Yeah.
And I think the ecosystem is quite vast in terms of brands, in terms of individuals. But how do I win a Loerie? Who am I who wins a Loerie, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I have to tell you a story about this winning a Loerie thing. I wish I had the answer for you, but I was chatting to a chief creative officer of quite a big agency.
Yeah.
And he was telling me that, like how difficult it is to win a gold Loerie. So obviously our tiers of winning is you've got the highest level of Grand Prix, then you've got a gold, a silver, a bronze, and then on the craft side, we have a craft gold and a craft certificate. And he was speaking to me about winning a gold Loerie. And he says, in his entire career, even as a chief creative officer, it's been so difficult to win that gold Loerie. And the reason why it's so difficult is because this is not an award. We're not. That's a secret. We research. We do research in terms of who's doing the work and how they're doing the work and the caliber and the level they're doing it at. So the methodology and the systems and processes that go into Loeries are at a level that would boggle your mind. I think it's like most people don't know that. So winning a Loerie really starts off at understanding your key criteria. Sure. And this is what a lot of people don't know. It's like the judging is done on 5 key criteria. Number 1 is innovation. Number 2 is quality. So the craft and the way things are actually done.
Yeah.
Number 3 is relevance to the brand. Number 4 is relevance to the target consumer. Number 5 is relevance to the chosen medium. So if you're doing this ad, let's say for television, are you doing true to television and then taking the same thing, putting on to digital on YouTube? Is it really working? So being cognizant.
You also look at like best practice
For the medium itself.
Yeah.
Now, the last 4 that I highlighted are in no particular order. So that's in no particular order. The only one that's non-negotiable in all of that is innovation. So first and foremost, we're an innovation award. Yeah. So we have really strict criteria to make sure that when we're actually judging, we're evaluating whether this piece of work actually displays innovation. So if you want to win a Loerie, the first thing you got to ask yourself is, what am I entering? Is it actually innovative? Is this something that's actually making a difference in the industry? And when we speak about the industry, because we cover the whole of Africa and the Middle East, you're not saying, hey, is this great in South Africa? Is this great in Kenya? Is it great in Nigeria or in Egypt? We're looking and going,
it's great.
Is this great
everywhere in the region?
And if it's great for the region, it means that ultimately it can compete on a global level. It means if it's great for this whole wide region, it can do well there. And then comes a question like, great, innovation's a nice word.
Yeah.
It's easy to say.
Absolutely.
What
does it mean?
What does that mean?
Yeah.
And if you want to understand what innovation is, firstly, I think maybe, again, just to dispel a myth about innovation, a lot of people confuse innovation and invention. Okay. So invention, I'm going to give you an example I love to use. So invention, I love this example because again, and maybe while I'm at it, I'm going to explain disruption as well. Because since I come from I'm passionate about innovation. Yeah. It's been my entire career. So if you look at invention is coming up with something radically new and radically different. And one of the best examples of an invention that's made a difference in our lives is the wheel. So again, my archaeology knowledge, 5,000 years ago in Mesopotamia, somebody had this idea of taking and carving a piece of rock until it was round.
Yeah.
First ever wheel. Fantastic. Now, if you go over time, if you look at an example of an innovation is, let's say, a Bugatti Veyron. Beautiful car, right? But a Bugatti Veyron would not exist if somebody didn't come up with that idea of a wheel because it uses tires, wheels to move around.
Sure.
And, if you look at the iterations throughout, whether the chariots and all of those kind of things throughout the entire years and the Model T Ford, and now we're seeing Bugatti Veyron. Which would you choose? Do you want the invention or the innovation if I told you could live with one you want?
I mean, innovation sounds a bit more.
Yeah, that's innovation. Innovation is continuously improving on an existing idea. So what it means is if you see something amazing out there, how can you look at that and do it even better? And one of your best places you can go, we have the Loeries archive. So you can go to loeries.com. The archive for 2023 is free of charge. You go in and you have a look at the work and you go like, I'm entering, how can I ensure that my work and the story I tell is better than this?
Sorry to interject there. I attended the Loeries last year for the first time. And I remember just watching some of the work that was, showcased there. Actually, the work that won the awards, especially the gold. So you look at this work, like you can't falter it. You can't ask the question, how did this one win? You know, because of, like some of them were like, there was the campaign, actually, I think it was done in Kenya to create awareness around menstruation.
Yep. So Ziva, stain not shame.
Aha, yes, see. Goosies.
Wow.
I kid you not. Like
Yeah.
it's some of the ideas, they're like simple but not that simple. You know what I mean? Like it's a simple idea. It's a no-brainer. Then they created the dresses with the blood stains and like proper stuff. You can't falter it. And I guess maybe that's the standard that everyone has to aspire to. That even when you win, even with the Yobas, for example, I get people coming and say, but the process, it's unfair. Why am I against, the bigger brands? Can you not have our own category of our average brands? But the point is, you never want to win an award and people question you how you won it.
I think also credibility of the awards. I think we were saying that the Loeries, you because it's so stringent and it's almost, quite a lot of us, and then we go there, it's like you going to P&G, there was a lot of graduates, and then just the two of you guys making it just makes it even more like, I don't know what I did, but clearly, favor, sure, but there's also an element of hard work that has contributed to that,
But also at the same time, like I say, you never want to win something and people question.
Yeah.
Like, how did you win a Loerie? I mean, what have you done? Like, look at that work.
Also me, but I'm better here.
I mean, like, even for example, the blind spot campaign by VW.
Yeah.
You can't falter that work. You can see the thinking, you can see the innovation, you can see the creativity and you just can't falter it.
Yeah.
So when they went up and down the stage collecting those awards, you can't help but applaud for them and not hate.
Yeah, it sets a standard that goes that this is what we need to improve on and where we need to go. And that's what the Loeries exist for. And therefore we're a non-profit. Because in the end of the day we're not doing this because there are any shareholders who want to make money or buy whatever. It's literally like our board, our entire board are volunteers. Not ownership structure, but maybe we should talk about it. Do you guys know who owns the Loeries?
No.
Isn't it the industry?
It's the industry. Literally, our ownership structure is such that anyone who enters the Loeries legally becomes a part owner. They become a member of the Loeries, which essentially means they're an owner for the year.
Wow.
That's how we work. So therefore we go therefore our board's not paid, our committee's not paid. So our operating structures, we have a board who have a fiduciary responsibility. They're made up of some most amazing people in brand comms.
Yeah.
And then we also have a wider committee that's responsible for operations itself. No one's paid. Except me. But I do this full time. I might, but I mean, like, if you look at that board, just in terms of it. So everyone else is volunteering and giving up their time. So you look at all the amazing people. Yeah. They don't get free tickets to the Loeries. They don't get free accommodation. There's no secret behind the scenes kind of like benefits that come to them. The only benefit they get is the reward of being able to say we serve the industry.
Sure.
So therefore, it's like really stringent. So if you've got all of these amazing people who want to sit on Loerie's board, and they do this because they have such passion for it,
and they sit there objectively, of course.
Absolutely, because they all come there and they go like, there's no vested interest for anyone over there at all. And therefore, as we create our judging panels, we go through the whole process, we get them involved in this. They're actually sitting there and they're applying their mind. They could have been using that time for their businesses,
of course,
to help grow the businesses that pay them their salaries. Yeah. Instead, they go, no, we're going to do this and make sure the Loeries is strong, because the Loeries will then benefit the overall industry.
Absolutely, because if you think about it, when you have the highest standard that one can aspire to, then everyone is motivated to work harder. Like she was saying earlier on, at film school, at advertising school, at a marketing school, we all want to win a Loerie, and we'll do whatever it takes to one day, win a Loerie. And that obviously pushes humanity forward. And
you can. I mean, let me tell you a thing, it's like, as difficult as it is for a lot of people to win a Loerie, it's amazing things. I've seen brands that have entered like only two things into the Loeries and have gone on to win a Grand Prix.
Sure.
Two entries equates a Grand Prix. There was a case even like just recently, a brand entered only one thing into the Loeries, just one thing, and they went on to win a Grand Prix. Wow. So what happens is it comes down in terms of the work that you're actually doing. Sure. And even with that, though, I also go like, you know what, you want to ensure that you're properly representing your work to the industry. So while those are the anomalies, if you really want to win at Loerie, enter. Put it in. You know, there's this old joke that goes that, you know, this guy prayed to God for so long. Have you heard this joke about the guy praying to God to win the lottery?
No.
Yeah, there's this joke. There's this joke about this guy who'd go to church and go like, Lord, I want to win the lottery. Yeah. Please let me win the lottery. And he'd go on the day one and then he'd look at the television night. He didn't win it. The second night he goes like, same thing. Praise Lord, let me win the lottery. Yeah. Goes in, puts the television on that night. He doesn't win. Third night, he goes and he's praying so Lord, good Lord, I've came here 2 nights in a row. I've prayed so hard. It's my third night. Let me win the lottery. And suddenly a booming voice goes from heaven in church and goes, buddy, do me a favor. At least buy a ticket first.
If we can get started, let's just do that.
So therefore, if you want to win, if you enter, put your work in there so that people can actually evaluate and see it and have it. You can't be sitting going like, I want to win a Loerie and I hope that is, but you haven't actually put your work in. And that too, you know, when you put it in, you've got a great piece of work with something you believe in. Don't just go like, let me put it in one spot. You go like, hey, look, if it's a campaign, put it in, and you've done something in television, do it in television. If you've done something in PR, and then you go, there's a PR angle, do it. Because what happens is you could have like a very good sliver of excellence in PR that may have not been there in the film, or may not be strong, in the print. So therefore, you've got to like really fully represent the work so the judges can have a look at it, and then allow the rest to happen to the process and to the amazing minds who actually judge the Loeries.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, you really, I think just to summarize though, if anybody is applying for the Loeries, is one, make sure you are understanding that innovation is key. And also looking at then all the other elements and pillars that really talk to a brand that wins the Loeries, you know. You also mentioned that they can see the 2023 winners and see what work they've done. And we spoke about innovation as just refining or improving what's already there.
I think they can also watch the show on SABC Plus.
I don't know if it's still on. It wasn't the SABC Plus app, but they've just refreshed the app and they're getting ready for the next year. So I don't think it's on there anymore. So you can't watch it.
Yeah, but go have a look, go see what brands are there, go look at the content, familiarize oneself with the Loeries. But now, I think you said your first Loerie was the one that you had planned virtually, and this is 2022. So
2020.
2020. Sorry.
2020.
Yeah. So this is wild.
That's wild because I signed the contract in like December of 2019.
Okay.
To start, because obviously long notice periods, and I was starting in April of 2020.
Yeah.
So when I signed it, COVID didn't even exist. No one even was speaking about it.
We heard of it.
But in December,
but it was far.
No, I didn't even hear about it.
We're only here in Jan.
No, we heard it like towards the end of December.
Okay.
So beginning of December, no one heard about it. So end of December it started popping up, and then we are having meetings as a team because even though I wasn't at the Loeries officially, there'd be like chats and be another. And there are plans, we're going to bring the Loeries to Johannesburg. And they said, Preetesh, in fact, that was one of the things they said, Preetesh, don't worry, year one's going to be easy because the plans are all laid out. All you really need to do.
Was that your mandate to bring it to Joburg?
Well, that was it. Yeah, it was already set. They said, don't worry, it's going to be easy. The Loeries are coming to Joburg. You just have to relax and just let this flow. So I was like, okay, great. Relax and let it flow. There's no plan, no issues. But instead, what happened was COVID popped up.
Yep.
And I remember even during COVID, there being chats with some of the people in the Loeries, and they were like, "No, this will be gone in a month. In a month, will be gone." Come 1st of April, which is the day I started, I'm sitting in lockdown.
We're all locked down, yeah.
Sitting in lockdown, sitting over there, and that lasted. I did not sit at my desk at the Loeries offices. I think until October. It's like 6 months later.
Yeah.
So it took quite a while. Took quite a while. But I mean, so therefore it required innovation again. So we innovate as the Loeries as well. And we looked at it and went like, what can we do? The first thing we did was we made the Loeries free for the year, which again, because there were a lot of shows just closing going, we're not going to do this. And we knew we were going to make a loss and we knew we were going to lose lots of money, but the money was there for the industry and we knew we'd have to work towards it. So we made a loss. massive loss. I mean,
I know losses on our shows.
yeah. I mean, this was intense. But I mean, I went to the board and I told the board, look, I want to do this for free. We're going to make a loss. Be prepared. This is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
But it's going to help the industry. We were, I think, the only walk ranked award that actually held the show that year. And what we did is we created a virtual experience. So it was all totally online. So agencies, people gathered in their agencies and their social distancing group to watch it. Those who couldn't sat at home and they watched it on their thing. But it was a true online experience, and we had speakers from around the world, and it was really amazing kind of experience. And then we were still stuck with COVID. So second year we did a hybrid, a small physical event for a few hundred people in Cape Town, which was a miracle period because we were between lockdowns. I think we got to 1,000 people there, unofficially. Yeah, 1,000 people at the event.
I was going to say.
We had enough. I think so. No.
Asterix.
No. We were monitored by Disaster Management City of Cape Town. They are tough.
Yeah, they're intense.
Yeah. They are intense. They were there on-site monitoring, and they said it doesn't matter if you exceed this, we're going to close down this event. One person only. We're going to close down the event. And then we figured, what do we do to rest? We held it in theaters. We created a cinema experience, so people went into theaters. They sat in cinemas and they watched all of the amazing work. And then by the time it was my third year at the Loeries, we did a full live event, but still scaled down.
Yeah, not as big.
And then last year we went back to a normal Loeries.
Sure.
Yeah. And that was the journey. That was my 4 Loerie awards that I've run.
That has been interesting for you, I'm sure.
It is, because you know what's you have something that the scale of the Loeries, and you're always going to start off at a very high level. You're going to start off at it being the big monster it is. And I got to do things that had never been done before. Never held a virtual show, so being able to innovate and do that. Never being able to do a hybrid, being able to do the hybrid, taking it on a journey as well. So it's felt very rich and rewarding in this process. And what I think has really made a difference is COVID, lots of people lost their jobs. And we as the Loeries were able to then say, we were able to award the Loeries so that when somebody is looking for a job, they can go, hey, I did win a Loerie in this year. Look at the proof that the work that it made a difference.
Yeah.
The agencies who were struggling, wanting more work, they could go and look at it and go like, hey, look, we won Loeries. Give us your business. The brands who are trying to unlock more value from the boards, the CMOs out there could go, hey, even during COVID, we're able to win a Loerie in our work. Give us more budget so we can recover and do things. So at various touch points of the brand communications industry, we're able to touch that point, and I think we made a bit of a difference in helping the recovery come along a little bit better as well.
Sure, your journey almost then, I think, would relate to the 2024 campaign, which we'll go through in our last segment. Yeah. And it says, this is tough, so are you.
Well, Mpumi, can I tell you something?
What's up?
This is tough.
Wow. And
so are you. That's the campaign for 2024 that you did with the odd number.
Yeah.
What's the rationale behind it? How did it come about?
Well, what we did was we always get an agency to design the Loeries campaign. And we thought, let's open it up. Normally, it's like a case where we chat to agencies and they go we want to design the Loeries campaign. We thought, let's open it up and have a few agencies give us the ideas. So we had quite a few agencies give us the ideas. We took it to our board.
So it was a pitch.
It was like a pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you go it's the Loeries campaign. Do you want to be involved in it? And lots of agencies wanted to be involved in it. So we had them give us the ideas.
But before you jump on, I quite liked last year's one as well. The Blood, Sweat and
Tears. That was done by Grid. Grid, which Grid Worldwide is amazing, and the team
by Nathan Reddy.
Nathan Reddy and his team. So they did an amazing job on that campaign as well.
Yeah, I always remember the sound. Ding.
The fall of your blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah,
they really put their blood, sweat, and tears into it. And our friends at the Odd Number as well put their blood, sweat, and tears into This Is Tough, So Are You as well.
Yeah. So the rationale behind it.
So what happened was what eventually when it came down to it, what they actually shared is that, if you look at the space we're in, brand comms, marketing, advertising, it's a tough industry to be in. People don't realize. I mean, everything we've been chatting about as well, even off air, it's been about the challenges that the industry is facing.
Yeah.
And so the people of the industry actually are the ones who are bearing those challenges.
Yeah.
And sadly, in some cases, you're losing some of these people. There are people who are going, I can't deal with this anymore. I want out. And that can be from a case of going like, I'm moving countries, bye-bye, we're out of here, South Africa, to a point of going like, I'm moving industries, goodbye.
Yeah.
Either way, this beautiful industry is losing people. And we just want to acknowledge this. And
She's one of them. She always complains about how tough the industry is.
No, agency, not industry.
Yeah, but that's...
I love marketing.
That forms part of the... Agencies are the key players in the industry.
I'm happy for them.
You see the amount of...
Well, it's an ecosystem. It's like the brands, the key player is the consumer. The consumer votes with their rand and they push their cash in, and then the brands have money, and then the brands are able to say, look, I want to continue this relationship. I've got this mandate from the consumer and I continue this relationship. And therefore they go, the only way we can speak to them is we get the agency to do this on our behalf. And that's where the agency gets the money. And the agency is sitting there and go like, yep, we're going to do this. We got the ideas, but we need the production companies to create the work that we put out there. We need the media companies to find the right spaces and channels for us to be able to do it. It's an absolute ecosystem. And across the board in that ecosystem, if the consumer is hurting, and we're chatting about it, the consumer is hurting. There's a lot of ways that, even we look at our lives as consumers, you think about the average consumer out there. We are the average consumer out there.
And your disposable income is spread so thinly.
It's spread so thinly.
My friend said something, I was like, this is deep. We're just talking about the upcoming elections and whatnot. And in terms of what's going to inform his choice of...
who he's going to vote for. Yeah.
He said, you know what, Pat? Today I'm earning way more money than I've ever earned before. But I afford so much less.
Yeah, that's so true.
How does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm earning this big salary, but I afford little.
That's true. That's true. I mean, and again, that's the challenges of all consumers out there. You may look at your salary and you go like, yeah, I'm earning more money than I did 10 years ago, without a doubt. But how did I live 10 years ago versus now? I probably had a lot more freedom 10 years ago.
Yeah, I could go out every weekend. I could do,
And that's just the reality. And I mean, again, if the consumer's experiencing that, people of our industry are consumers, they're having to deal with smaller budgets, the challenges that we speak about. And therefore, this campaign, the way it really resonated with everyone, and I think it resonated with our board on a very personal level, because a lot of people are experiencing this. They're seeing the people in their teams experiencing this, that this is tough. But despite how tough it is those that are resilient to I want to still make that campaign. I want to spend that night. I want to make sure that, it's no matter what's happening, I want to be able to create something that has meaning out there. That's the person we're speaking to. So we're going like, this is tough, so are you. And even those who are feeling right now that, this is so tough, I can't cope. Well, it also speaks to them, strangely enough, because there's an angle that says, this is tough, so are you, which goes, yes, it's tough right now, but don't forget your inner strength. Don't forget your resilience to be able to rise above this, whether those personal challenges, those industry challenges, we know that it's tough, but we also want to remind you of the power that you have. And that's what this campaign is. It's reminding people they have this innate, deep-seated power that can bloom and rise at any time and make a real difference.
Wow, amazing. It's very inspiring. I think it deserves a Loerie.
You're not allowed. Little fun fact. These amazing agencies who do this, they're not allowed to enter their work into the Loeries. So you cannot enter work created for the Loeries into the Loeries.
It would make sense.
Yeah.
Tough.
Biased.
Tough luck.
Absolutely biased. But you can enter it into other global awards. That's fine.
Oh, nice. But it is a brilliant campaign.
Yeah.
I think the thinking, and also just to rally up, the industry, the support, and bring back the excitement to say, guys, yes, as tough as it is, let's carry on.
Yeah.
We can do this thing.
Yeah. So huge shout out to Subu Sutole, who's Chief Creative Officer, obviously at Odd Number, and Nima Noose, who's there as well. She they really stepped up and came up with a great campaign.
So I can't wait to see it coming fully to life.
Yes, because this is another challenge.
Yeah.
Like the Loeries has to run for a long period of time.
Yeah.
If you see everything all at one go, you're gonna get really bored. There's something called copy wear out, which we learned early on in my marketing career. Just to know that everything wears out, including your any work that you do with the consumer. So therefore, we know that we've got a highly involved consumer who are looking at this with a So like with a magnifying
Yeah.
glass. So it is a slow bleed, and it's done on various phases. So our entry phases, our judging phases, our partner announcement. So there's different phases of this whole thing. Ultimately,
It's gonna
culminate in a
climax,
big award, and then coming into our other stuff we do at the end of the year, such as our rankings and stuff. So strategically, it's on a journey.
Nice.
You're on a journey with us.
Nice.
Sure.
Great stuff.
And that I mean, I hope we have dissected the Loeries. And if you have an urge of sat there and thought, I want to win a Loerie, as they said, you have to apply.
You have to enter.
So you have to enter. And that brings us to the end of our session, really. And then we've spoken about NDP. That was new for me, right? NDP?
NPD.
NPD.
Yes,
NPD.
new product development. Yes.
I didn't know that. So that was something new for me. So a lot of research and seeing what NPD means. So as we always say, I hope you take something and learn something out of each and every episode that we have. Something to go read more about and to understand that you can apply in your business. We've spoken about innovation, disruption, invention, and hope then you're able to map that. Where are you in your business cycle on your normal distribution curve? Are you at the beginning, the middle, the end? Are you declining?
Yeah.
Where are you currently?
And you have an exit plan?
Yeah, do you have an exit plan? That was also quite a pin drop. I think it also goes back to what Mr. Bongani Chikunda had said. Chikanda.
Yo, that was 2 years ago. 3 years ago.
But he mentioned, the what he's learned in business is the attachment is that we usually say a business is your baby. And he says as soon as you make it your baby, you're quite emotive. And therefore you'd make decisions that are purely emotive. If your child is sick, you'd do everything in your power to help them survive. But, if you find that it's not working, you make the decision a lot quicker.
Yeah.
So you fast track that, and so that it doesn't dip into your livelihood and so forth. So that's been quite, I think, the link.
Yeah. Fail faster. Like
fail
DARPA
faster.
has.
There
Fail
we go.
faster.
There we go. So that was quite, I think, a repetition in that regard, but also just in a different lens to say that have an exit plan.
Yeah.
And lastly, we have our quizzical Pat on Brands quiz, which is just 5 questions.
Since you're a brand man, you work with brands, you should know.
Quick 5 questions. We give you a pat.
Didn't even know this was coming. Okay, so this is new.
Of course, we wouldn't tell you. 5 minutes. And are you ready?
Let's go. Yeah.
Okay. First question, Pat gave it away, but I think let's see. It's a bonus-ish question. He said, the brand finance recently named SA's strongest brand. Which brand was it? Was it Celsi, Tiger Brands, or FNB?
FNB.
Yeah, I was like, he's so problematic.
Yeah.
I would have known that. Definitely.
Okay.
Interestingly,
We'll give it to you.
During our offline chat, you said you had a meeting with these people.
The individual from there. Yeah.
Yeah. TikTok. So what is their tagline? Think short and simple. Make every second count. Or keep it short and simple.
I don't know.
Tell you, pick a.
I'm in trouble. So what was the options again?
Think short and simple. Make every second count. Keep it short and simple.
Oh, I'm going to go every second count. I know I'm going to fail this. I'm going to be in so much trouble after this.
That's a pat.
That's
so you did
pat.
well.
That's the correct
You did
one.
well. So 2 out of 5 so far. Or 2 out of 2 so far. Mass Smart is set to launch 4 mini stores in SA. Which stores are these or those? Is it Game? Is it Shein? Or is it Macro?
Oh my God. I'm so sorry, Kathleen Madley, over there, who I'm seeing next week.
I trust in you.
Listen.
I trust in you.
I don't, Game? I'll get it wrong. Was it Shein? No, it's
Neither of the Macro.
See, there we go.
Yeah.
2 out of 3.
I actually saw it on the news, I think.
They'll be opening 4 stores.
Yeah, then I saw it on Pat Brands. I didn't see. I didn't know it was true. I was like, really? Because I think I saw a picture of how it looks like.
Sounds some innovation from Catherine over there. Yeah, that sounds good.
I think they're taking over the Game stores, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they're going to take some of the game stores and convert them into Macro Mini.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Earlier this month, we had a new listing on the JSE.
Oh God, here we go. Yeah.
Which brand listed on the JSE in April 2024? Is it Batu, We Buy Cars, or Xanax?
We buy cars.
Why?
I somehow remember this.
Oh.
Okay.
I remember reading We Buy Cars. Yeah, Batu is not listed as yet.
Okay.
Yeah, Batu is not,
they're
not
in
yet.
your.
I know. I'm following what they're doing. I know they opened a brand new
There we go.
distribution center and stuff
Okay,
as well in
okay.
offices. But We Buy
Sure.
Cars listed. They're massive.
3 out of 4.
3 out of 4.
Last question. Mondelez, Southern Africa, had recently introduced a new MD. Who was introduced? Was it Monde Twala? Was it Unati Mhlatyana? Or was it Bongani Nkosi? This one is
It's not Monday because Monday is at Paramount.
okay.
Or Monday. What's the middle option again?
It was Unati Mhlatyana.
I have no idea who that is. So Unati?
The process of elimination.
Yeah.
4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
And I get the Massmart one wrong. Yes,
Yeah, I mean, right?
Yeah.
Right? I actually thought you were going to say macro. I was like, yo, these questions seem to have been really easy. But
Yeah.
no, you are really the CEO of our time for the Loeries.
Yeah.
Very much, I think, present. And not to say this is a
on the
judgment
pulse.
of anything, but
Yeah.
quite on the pulse in terms of what brands are doing out there, which is, like you say, serving. And that's what it's about. But thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. You don't know how much this means to
means.
us, you know.
No, I
Yeah.
appreciate
Taking
both
the
of
time.
you.
I know you're very busy,
Yeah.
but you still made the time
You're
to be
dashing
with us.
even now, and that's why I need to make sure that we're cutting it
Yeah.
at this time.
So if there's anyone watching this and wants to get a hold of you, they want to be in touch because they saw you on the Preetesh Sewraj podcast. Now they want to have you on their podcast. How do they go about what's the best way to engage with you?
I mean, go to Loeries, obviously, the loeries.com, Loeries.com. And then if you want to engage with me personally, I'm very happy to engage over LinkedIn. So yeah, LinkedIn's the best spot. Just add me on LinkedIn.
yeah.
Great stuff.
Yeah, but go to Loeries.com. There's where all the resources are. That's what you really need to know.
Yeah. And also CEOs are quite busy, guys.
Their calendars get filled up quickly.
It's it's a secret that people don't tell your CEO. Just last thing is you're actually a resource to your team, so you don't own your time. So it's actually
that is true.
But
But
I'm
as
a
you
resource.
move up in senior management, you're more to the team than you are, but you must still do your job.
I still need to read emails.
Exactly.
Even though you don't have time for, I had breakfast today at, I think it was at 3 p.m. It was 3 p.m. breakfast because I got here at
Hectic.
4.
Yeah.
So I met somebody from TikTok and I said, hey, we're having breakfast right now. And that was breakfast at 3 p.m.
At 3 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's intense. But thank you so much.
Thank you
to our audience who are listening to us. From myself, Mpumi. Do you want to say anything about the Yobas?
Yeah, just a quick update. So in
Because
terms of
usually those rappers that, yo, I just want to say shout out to my mama.
yeah, the Yobas. We recently closed off our nominations. We got over 3,300 entries from 15 countries, African countries. So the Yobas are continental people. I don't know how else to say it. And it's a great achievement and shout out to the team, everybody that's working tirelessly behind the Yobas. They know themselves. Even Mpumi also happens to also work on the Yoba somehow. I'm kidding. Doing amazing work as our project lead. And we're still calling out for corporates to come on board. We still have a few slots available from a sponsorship perspective. We still have some stands from an exhibition perspective. If you want to come showcase your brand, you can get in touch with the sales team on sales@top16yoba.africa. Sales@top16yoba.africa. I hope Tabang will put it down there. And please support when the voting starts, which will be in 2 to 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. Please do submit your votes and let's all, unite in promoting youth excellence.
Yeah. For myself, Unompumelelo Vundla.
Again.
Goodbye.
From me, Pat Matlaungiti. Inakhailale.
Pat. Pat. It's Pat on Brands. Watch how you branded, man. A pat on the back is a pat from the man. Better be branded, man. A pat from the pat is a pat on the brand.